Looking lovely. Let's go ahead and get our mid-tones in. Right now this pencil's getting so worn down, that's pretty much all it's good for anymore. We'll get more definition out of that area just a little later. Now I'm going to want this fox to kind of fade away the same way that this badger's shoulder fades away. So that's just go ahead and kind of erase my line there. I can still see a hint of where that fox is supposed to be, so I don't have to worry too much about that. And just very lightly, and because this pencil has gotten to the point where there's no real point on it anymore, and I mean there is, but that's all because of the wood right there at the end. So you really can't draw with the wood, obviously. But now that he's nice and soft, I can come in here with nice, long, sweeping lines to tell the viewer that yes, the rest of his hair is nice and long and foxy and luxurious. It looks wonderful on him, does it not? And also, by doing this much lighter, there's detail work down here, but it's slowly fading away like how that badger's shoulder does. So we don't have to worry too much. Just gradually fade away our details. Now, the reason I keep making all of these little hairs flip up on the ends is because that's how his hair actually is doing. So, you want to get that right. I'll just stop it right around in there and start working my way this way, give it the same level of detail and then a little more detail. Now I don't want to do it too much, otherwise he's going to look like a fox that got a perm. And as somebody with curly hair, trust me, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Now because we've done these little flips, as well, we can choose some areas to kind of darken up like how we did underneath here. So that way it keeps it from turning homogeneous. You know, just choose some random areas. There we go. Foxy boy. And then we'll put the whiskers in at the end because that's the fun part. Now the top of his head, I'm not going to do too much than what I already have done because again the light is coming down, which would be directly hitting a large part of that. I'm just going to put a few little hairs in just to kind of darken this area up just a tiny bit. And again, kind of some implied details using a lot of the very same techniques I've been telling you about this whole time. Some longer lines. Let's see, oh yeah, this was like super plush. So back to the kind of comical thing. Make it look like a woolly little. And if you did a whole animal like this, probably a llama would be the best for that. Let's see, now the ears. Now, this hair in here is super fine. And again, I don't mind that my pencil has gotten super dull because that means that it's very soft and it can make softer lines. And I'm just going to kind of shade in the that part of the ear there a little bit. And more than anything for this part, we're kind of going to do what I showed you for this part. We're going to do the dark area first and go backwards. So the darker area, which, I mean, it's not really that dark, but it's dark in comparison to the rest of the ear, where you could see the skin on the inside of his ear, more or less. We have this dark area here. And keep in mind I am looking at like 4 or 5 different photos here, so I'm just kind of picking elements that I like from each one. This ear's coming from one. The expression on the face is coming from a different one. The one that I'm using for the face and the eye being closed is a one where a fox is fighting another fox. So it makes lots and lots of photos. Now, since the hair about here tends to come out directly at the viewer, we're going to use curled hairs, kind of like how we did here, you know, that swoosh, the swish, those kind. So we're going to do them much smaller. So that way it feels like long hair, but it's because it looks so short, it must be coming up at you. We don't want to do too many of them or we'll accidentally make it too dark. And then I might even come in with my putty eraser and pat that to make it a little bit more of a brilliant white. Now we're just going to put a few little detail lines. Nice, thin. Yeah, not like that. Come in and just kind of lightly erase. Keep in mind your eraser is more for than just erasing mistakes. Has many uses, just like a putty eraser. You can also draw with an eraser as well. Keep that in mind. We're going to put some more short hair details around here. There we go. I am very happy with that. Now I'm going to move on to my darker pencil. Got myself a B8. Oh, a 6B, sorry. The B8's over there, I need to sharpen it, but I don't have to have it. Wouldn't be drawing with it as dark as what it can do anyway. So I'm going to come in here. Exact same techniques as before. Now I am pushing actually a little bit harder with this guy. Get some of these darkest areas. I kind of want this smooth so that way it feels like the actual eyelid. It's not hair, it's an eyelid. And I'll give it that beautiful little fox taper there, that kind of, you know, that Egyptian eye that makes Egyptian, you know, the makeup look so beautiful. The whoosh lashes, the drawn on kind, like this, like so. Give a better example. Yeah. We'll give him those eyes. Like just give him a little bit of a whoop. And foxes, they do have eyelashes, so that's not too far off from the truth. And I'm going to take some of this darkness and I'm just going to go this way just a little bit, not too much. Just so that way this doesn't feel like so abrupt. I'm going to put some dark in here. Just a few places. Maybe just darken this up, but not as dark as, you know, some of the other spots. Right on. Now, come here. Come on. Move. Now you can see where I had erased part of the darkness of this paw, and it did not 100% erase. That is all right. We can. I mean, that's fixable. That's not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of mark off the gums here. Make that tooth a little smaller. That's about all I'm going to do for the gums there, really. I might come in and erase just along the top of the gum line in a little bit. But overall, it's good. Add some shadowing to this tooth up here. Now the shadowing is going to have to be a little bit darker, otherwise it's going to blend into the badger fur, and we want it to feel like a separate entity from the two. And I totally did that off camera. Sorry. It was just darkening up just one side. There. That's all we need. Now, as far as this area goes, this area, pretty much, I'm not going to do a whole lot with it. The several of the photos I'm looking at of boxes, this hole under here is white. So, I need my eraser. So we're going to need this pretty much very pale, a lot like our lip there. And we're going to want this to be in here with the eraser and just kind of fuzz it up a bit. And I'm going to go in reverse. I'm going to take the badger hair and come up in to his jawline to show that hair, that fuzz, that shorter fuzz. It is a shorter, plushier. This would be a great time to like look at your dog's chin or their jawline. And that kind of fills all that in. And I need my dark pencil. And kind of jig-jag it a little. Alright. And we're going to space this hair a little bit wider. The hair down here isn't really that long, especially when it gets closer and closer to the mouth. So just random teeny tiny short lines, spaced nice and far apart. It's interesting how spacing can help to indicate you a color. Now for this lip area, I'm going to basically come in again and do the inverse, because the hair just gets thinner the closer and closer it gets to the lips. It doesn't just abruptly end like a hairline or anything. Even then, a hairline doesn't, you know, it's not just a, unless you're really up close, it typically can be represented with a straight line, but it's not actually straight line. So I'm just putting some little dots underneath this lip to indicate the hairs growing, you know, around that dark skin. And to help highlight the darker areas of the lips, just come in here with this B6. There we go. Let's take a look at it all together. I'm pretty happy with it. Now there are some values that I can still work on, especially in the fox area, but overall I am pleased as punch with how this turned out. And by working with the values a little bit more, there's going to be very, very little that's going to tell you that this is a fox, not a coyote, not a wolf. This is a fox. Other than the fact that a badger is kind of a smaller critter, and, well, even then, coyote, could still pass for a coyote. Whatever. I'll see if I can't find a few more hallmarks other than coloration from this kind of an angle. I think that's the key word. From this angle, there's all kinds of, from different angles, there's all kinds of ways to determine that this is a fox and not a coyote. Simply that foxes have those nice little narrow noses, those itty bitty wedges, and coyote is a little bit more dog-ish or maybe more wolfish. You know, the broad bit of you got the nose. We're doing this, you know, like super basic, obviously. And then going back, it's pretty, you know, the bridge of the nose is pretty straight, and then you get the eyes. It's pretty similar to, more similar to a fox and a coyote, whereas, or not a fox, a coyote and a wolf, whereas a fox, the little noses tend to get a little bit more, you know, a little bit more wedgy, a little bit more narrow, the teeny tiny little nose. A little foxy, and then you got the triangles. Foxes are all about triangles, especially in cartoons. But from this angle, we're going to need a few more hallmarks here and there, I think. But overall, Badger's looking pretty good, and I think he's looking good. My only wonder is that, because the picture that I have of the fox that's fighting with another fox, and this is like a vaguely this pose, you can see his little arm, and I'm thinking about blocking that in the same way, and that might help because, you know, the little black socks, but I'm worried that it'll disrupt the flow upwards. You go Badger, scary, flow, and then you got this black line going across the bottom, so it'll be like up, down, then I don't know. I might just shade it in, like how his knees are kind of shaded in. We'll see. Those are just thoughts. But overall, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I hope this video helped you in any way, shape, or form. Please let me know in the comments section if you have any questions about drawing, painting, jewelry smithing. I do all kinds of things, and I'm more than happy to help you guys out with different things. Just ask. If you like what I do, you can always donate to my Patreon if you would, and or you can also go to my Etsy shop. It's Naughty Dog Studios, where a lot of the work that I do work on this show does show up there a good deal of the time. I think the only time something doesn't end up showing up is when I plan to use it for a show. And most of my paintings and drawings will end up there anyway, and if they sell before the show, then, that's kind of a nice problem to have. But anyway, I do hope you guys had a wonderful day and a wonderful time. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Bye.